Isn't that fancy? We're live now. Had a little countdown and everything.
I
Wow,
saw. I was like, "What was that?"
I feel so special now. Good
We
evening.
done made it.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good late evening for those of you that are further east of me, and and slightly early afternoon for those that are west of Christina. This is CNC SciFi vlog, and we are coming live from 3 different areas in the United States of America. And we are here to discuss episode 8 of WandaVision. I don't think I can take any more. I don't think I can take any more. So we're going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to not allow the spoilers to start until later on in the episode, like we used to do the Mandarin. Or Mandalorian, the Mandarin. What the hell? Oh, so we are just going to.
I was like, wait a minute, ain't that the Iron Man?
So we are going to do a rough overview of what happened and try to stay away from spoilers. And then we're going to give you guys like a minute, and then we're going to do the whole spoiler thing. So once the spoiler talk starts, that's on y'all. So we're giving you ample opportunity to get out of Dodge or leave the premises like a roach when the lights come on in the hood. Actually, they don't leave the premises. They just stand there and go, what you gonna do?
They go hide in a corner. Still be on the premises.
So I am, again, one of your hosts, Cliff, also known as Draconis for most of the part on online. To my left is my brother, Big Nate. Mm-hmm. And down below us is my daughter and his niece, Christina. Mm-hmm. And we are CNC SciFi blog. So let's get it started. So, the episode, just a quick summary. They started off basically with what happened over, not even really what happened. They went into what happened with Sokovia. They really went back to the movies. So they started off talking about basically, Civil War, not Civil War. Not Civil War. It was, when did Wanda and them show up? Ultron. Age of Ultron. So they went into what happened in Sokovia, and then they went into Vision getting killed again and again in front of Wanda, and Wanda's just sitting there like, wow, that's nice.
Do we really have to relive all my trauma?
So, and then we get started with the episode. And then I think that was this is probably the darkest beginning I've ever seen in a thing. And we'll go in this later in the spoiler section. But Agatha is interesting. She is.
Agatha's wild. And,
so she is so basically it comes out how old she is. And we'll get into that in the spoilers. And it's interesting what happened to her, and we'll get into that in the spoilers. But let's just say, like Wanda, she did not have a charmed life. She did not have a charmed life at all.
That started off a little bit rough. That was a little rough.
So, and then the episode starts, and then with basically where we left off with Wanda talking to Agatha, and Agatha basically threatening her and telling her, look, we got to go do some stuff that you don't want to do. I'm tired of pussyfooting around, excuse my English, but I got to do what I got to do because I got to figure out what's going on. So they basically go through all of Wanda's traumas from when she was a baby to when she is now. Not even a baby, probably about an 8, 9-year-old. Yeah. And there was a lot of revelations. They went through her childhood.
Have an impromptu therapy session forced.
Yes.
You're not allowed to get out of it.
Yep. So, we got to basically, that was a big, more in depth about Wanda than I think we've ever seen, which is nice. So they basically went through her life, leading up to, and how her and Vision got close, because you really couldn't do that in the movies because the movies they're movies. They can only focus on so much at one time.
You got 2.5 hours. You gotta get through some stuff.
I don't know. Lord of the Rings was not 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but that was Lord of the Rings. An average movie 2.5 hours long.
I fell asleep during that movie. I've not tried to watch them since. You took me to the theater. You were the one that took me to the theater at like 10. I fell asleep.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to go through that again, young lady. And
Look,
you ain't watching the normal version. You
I-
are going to watch the extended edition.
No!
And I'm going to sit there just making you drink tequila like, stay awake.
Well, tequila ain't gonna do it. You need to give her
No.
something
She
else.
doesn't go to sleep when she drinks, sir.
Oh, no.
She doesn't get sleepy. She's
No.
not like other people, Nate, that get, they can't handle their liquor. So
I can't even carry the liquor. What are you talking about candles? What are you talking about?
You should have seen us. We took birthday shots for Angel.
And Angel just sitting there like, I'm like, no, shawty, you shout.
Sort of juice.
Oh Lord. Wow, Nice said put on the director's commentary to have you watch Lord of the Rings.
Oh no.
Oh,
Please no.
And you see right here, we see Frodo walking down the path. And this is where Aragorn broke his foot kicking a helmet. It really happened during the filming. So we'll go back to that. So basically they went through her past, and in the end, it starts basically a confrontation with her and Agatha. Basically, in the end, interesting about this episode, there was no other characters other than Wanda and Agatha, some Vision, and then in the post credits, which we'll talk about in spoilers, there were some other people that showed up, but Monica wasn't there, and old Pietro wasn't there. I think proper Pietro was there. Her Pietro was there for a little bit, maybe.
For a little
As a kid.
I mean, for a little bit as a child, but that was it.
Right. So that's the overview. So let's see. It's 7:49. My time. You got about 30 seconds to get the hell off of here before we start going into spoilers, because we are going to go into spoilers, and this is probably going to take up the bulk of it. But I will say, and a lot of people are saying this online, Elizabeth Olsen deserves an Emmy for her performance. Her and Bethany. Bethany is knocking it out the park as well.
Yeah.
So, and Agatha is doing a good job too. So basically, a lot of the cast is doing good. But so it's been about a minute now, about 30 seconds. So we're going to start with the spoilers now. And so it was nice to revisit. I didn't think they were going to use scenes from the other movies, at the beginning before the credits started rolling. That was kind of nice. And to give the audience reminders, because a lot of folks don't go back and watch movies over and over. They're not like me and Nate and Wild Knight. They won't go back and watch it over and over. And yes, I admit sometimes when it comes on TNT, I'll sit there and watch it, but it's not the same as just watching it on Disney Plus or something like that, where you sit back and you don't have to worry about 20, 30 different commercials about somebody trying to be my lawyer because I broke my leg.
Have you been in a car accident or a motorcycle accident? Do you need resettlement?
See, y'all was lucky. See, for the last 6 months, y'all may have had political ads, but remember, we had a runoff where I live at. So I had an additional 2 months. And then all I heard, every other thing was radical socialism, radical socialism, radical socialism. I'm like, is that your whole thing?
Well, I will say this, while you were listening to radical socialism, we were listening to Call J.G. Wentworth.
877
877 cash now.
Yes.
But no, back to the show. So they did that, and then they did the Marvel credits, and then we flash forward to Miss Agatha in chains being led by two people to a circle with other people.
It was 4 of them total, and one of them we found out. Go ahead. As they led her, and it was her mother, and they bound her to a pole.
Basically, and this was taking place in Salem, Massachusetts, in 1693. So think about it. It's 2000. I don't know what year it is right now. It's 5 years after the blip, so it's like 2023, maybe. So Agatha is well over. Oh, they were mystical chains that Wild Knight said. So they were mystical chains on her, so she couldn't break out. So Agatha is almost 400 years old. Yeah, almost.
I'm telling you,
doesn't look a day over 30.
I'm about to say that oil of Olay is working some wonders.
So they decide to banish her, and she's pleading with them not to banish her.
And we realize that it's the coven turning against her. But go ahead.
But here's my thing. So the coven turns against her, but they're using the Salem witch trials methods of punishment. Yeah. Which to me, isn't that like the biggest slap in the face for a witch to be burned at the stake, or even have their tied to a stake and then have their powers removed and then possibly be burned afterwards? I mean, all the history lessons that we learned and everybody thought was barbaric. Why would you do it to your own people? So basically, her powers are out of control, and she even said nobody taught me how to use it. And she kept begging him, all I need is a teacher. And her mom's like, no, you've been doing the dark arts and doing things well above your station. Yeah. Well and above your station. She was saying. But whose fault is that? She was doing dark arts and going further than she could be. But nobody said, hey, don't go play with the dark arts, or hey, let me show you how to try to control it. Since, to me, it's just like, with a Mandalorian, he has powers, but without training. And no one had trained her. No one had trained her, and all she said was somebody trained her. But go ahead. And where's the Ancient One during all this? The Ancient One's been around for for thousands of years. She was born in 1316 and died in 2017. Why? And if Agatha has all this power, why isn't she trying to help Agatha, or at least go, hey, she needs to be trained? She did it with Stephen. She did it with a whole bunch of. She had a whole group of people that she was training, and so it makes you kind of feel sorry for her until what happens.
I'm about to say, I feel sorry for her for about 30 seconds, and then after that, I didn't feel so sorry.
The witches start chanting a spell. Everybody except her mom, and they're blasting her with power, but it's not working. She's basically draining the power.
I was about to say she's absorbing the power.
Yeah, she was like there, like screaming for a second, but then she was like, I'm fine.
Well, I think that was a fake scream, because she's sitting there screaming and then she's looking at him like,
well done? Like, this tickles.
So could this be that she had prepared herself because she knew they wasn't going to listen to her, and then she knew what was going to happen, and she had already cast a spell before they even put her in the chains, but the chains didn't matter anyway because she was casting spells while they were attacking her, and she basically took the chains off and was like, what?
I mean, but let's pay attention. Her mother said that she had been in the dark arts and she wasn't supposed to be. So the truth of the matter is that she was already more powerful than her cousin. Already. And so they sent stuff at her, and she was just like, silly mortals.
Foolish mortals.
Yeah, she said they had basically, her mother said she had betrayed her coven and stole knowledge above her place. And the best part was she denied it. She denied it for a little bit, and then her mother's like, "Would you stop lying to me, girl?" She did the whole. I know you lying. Just stop lying, little girl. Just stop lying. And she was like, "Okay, all right, fine. Yes, I did."
And I killed Sparky too. Like, literally, like that was her whole mood.
So she broke free, and when she kind of broke free, her mother started joining in. But the other witches, if anybody's ever seen The Mummy, and when he drained somebody, that's how they looked. This was a very dark beginning for a TV show.
All their life force with the quickness.
But isn't that what they were doing with her?
I think that they were trying to blast her powers. I don't know if they were going to blast. I don't know. Trust me, witches is not my forte.
I understand, but let's think about this. They're dragging her to a stake. They tied her to a stake with stuff underneath her, with firewood underneath her, and they had torches. And they were blasting her to basically whatever they were going to do to her with the energy beams. So she wasn't walking away from this. until her powers kicked in. So, yeah. So in
Agatha's
her
old, and she killed a bunch of people.
Yes, and then her mom's powers. Her mom who was obviously the supreme. I don't know how many people watch American Horror Story, but she was the supreme of the time of the Coven, and her powers were supposed to be stronger than the other ones, but nope, sorry. And to me, Christina, this was another case of stupid people. And when I say stupid people, I mean your mom. You're the leader, and you're seeing all your people drained, and you're gonna go, I can do it.
I can do it. Like foolish. It's like maybe it'll be different with me. No.
So her mother dies, and then she takes the broths off her mother. But she tells, while they're attacking her, one other thing she says is, I can be good. And her mother says, no, you can't. So her mother had already dismissed her. And she kept saying, all I need is proper training. So did she need proper training, or was she evil?
I don't know. I feel like that's one of those shoulda, coulda, woulda moments. Because if her mother had decided to train her, maybe she wouldn't have followed the path that she was on. I feel like it's very similar to, for all you Harry Potter nerds out there, how Voldemort and Harry were basically raised the same way, but they turned out completely different because of how Dumbledore treated them.
Well, Voldemort turned out the way he did, not only because he wanted to go into the dark arts, but he also was hated because of the way his family treated him. It wasn't that his family was killed and didn't exist.
No, because of how the orphans treated him. Yeah, because he was different.
But let's think about this for a minute. Here's one of two things. I hate to go back to Mandalorian or go to Star Wars, but that's what I know. When somebody shows that they're maybe wayward or whatever, there's always somebody that's more powerful than you that can maybe help him or assist him or help her assist her. So instead of the Coven leader, aka mom, just trying to kill her, she could have said, you know what? I'm not powerful enough to help you, but I can seek somebody who is. So there was a chance that maybe, just maybe, we could have put her down a different path. She was like, I could be good. Maybe that's, the devil is the teller of many lies, but we didn't give her an opportunity to see if that was a lie or the truth. We just were going to strip her of her powers and kill her.
And not only that, but isn't this kind of along the lines of what happened in Civil War, what they wanted to do with Wanda because they were scared of Wanda's powers?
Yep.
Because up until then, we hadn't really seen Wanda's powers. She held a couple people and she mind controls some people, but what she does in this episode is far beyond what she did in the movies, other than when she fought Thanos. So, Agatha basically, so then we flash forward to Agatha and Wanda, and she's holding, why are you like zooming in on your mashed potatoes every time you take a bite, dude? Oh, it's your butter pecan ice cream. Okay, that's even worse. So so they're still in the basement, and then we come to find out that the things that were in the room were not, we thought they were symbols for other lords or something, extra dimensional beings, but they were actually spell runes.
Right.
And so Wanda's powers don't work. And Wanda always assumed her powers came from the Mind Stone, but we later find out it's something different. And so none of her powers work. And so those rune stones are sitting there basically stopping her from doing anything. So Wanda's or Agatha's able to basically halt her, and she can't read minds. And Agatha's just laughing the whole time. She is taunting her the whole time, just taunting her. And so Agatha's basically like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I need to know. But
wait. But you got to back up. One of the things that I liked about Agatha, and this is the thing that tells me, is Agatha really evil?
I think she's chaotic evil, or
is she? Wait. Is she really evil,
at the very
or
least?
was she just really trying to find out what was this a spell of incredible, because if you remember, she showed her how she went from the bug to the bird.
Yeah.
And she was like, and that was
It
with
was like, I have no idea
years
what
and
the
years
fuck.
and right now was years and years of of working and practicing on her art. And she was like, how did you create all this? How did you do it? What is your secret?
And Wanda the whole time is sitting there and confused
like,
because
I don't know what you're talking about.
She got her powers from the Mind Stone. She was this whole time she thought everything came from the Mind Stone, and later on we find out it's something different.
Well, but so then she's like, these are spells that you could do after years of proper training, but there's no spell that can just create on its own. What did you do?
Or do anything like that? And then, Wild Knight just brought up the whole thing about the rabbit. When she threw, was it a bird? She killed she turned the bug.
She turned the bug to the bird, and she threw the bird to the rabbit, and he ate the damn bird.
And the rabbit ate the whole bird.
The whole bird.
So the rabbit is worse. Is basically, I think it's like, oh God, what's his name from Voldemort? Voldemort's familiar.
Oh, Nagini?
Yeah, Nagini. That's her. That's because she was talking to the rabbit.
I mean,
the
that
rabbit
is
did talk back to her.
So
yes.
It is a very similar concept.
So, Agatha realized, oh, you're just a baby witch. I'm trying to, and to Nate's point, how did you do all this? So I've been trying to, and Agatha said, I've been trying to be nice, push you to see what's going on. But we're going to have to do a different way. So she basically takes some of Wanda's hair, casts a spell, and basically opens up a door. And Wanda's like, I'm not going in there.
And that door is to what?
Oh, I'm going to get to that. But the first things first, Wanda's like, I'm not going in there. And Agatha's like, oh, I thought you was going to say that. But what about your kids? And then we start hearing the boys screaming, mom, calling out for mom. And Wanda's like, God dang it.
Like, fuck, I forgot I had them.
So she opens the door, and it's actually her childhood. Basically, it's her childhood home.
Time to relive all your trauma.
Yes, basically. So her father comes home, and this is the first time we've seen her father and mother. I don't think we've ever seen them in any, not even in old pictures. We've never seen them.
But what's great about it is it explains her obsession with television. Go ahead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so her father in Sokovia used to sell old DVDs and VHS tapes. He was basically the guy on 79th Street that was selling old episodes of Bewitched, I Love Lucy. And you got to think about it. People are like, well, why not that and not the newer movies? I'm like, because it's Sokovia.
It's Sokovia. It's also like the 80s.
Yes, but he was selling stuff from the 60s.
Television.
He was selling the 50s and 60s TV shows,
right?
Because they don't have cable in war-ravaged Sokovia.
And the mom looked out, and there was fighting going on downstairs, but it was TV night, and it was Wanda's chance to decide, and she decided on Mary Tyler Moore, or not Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke.
One of the episodes. So they're sitting there. So the two kids get on the floor watching it, and the parents are sitting on the couch. And then a bomb drops on the house.
Blows them the kingdom.
Literally,
come.
like
it didn't blow them the kingdom come. Like, the parents.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah,
like you were just watching Dick Van Dyke show, like, oh, this is cute. Boom, and I'm like, what?
So Wanda and Pietro are still alive. They're underneath their chair, or they're underneath the bed, and there's a bomb there blinking.
Stark Industries bomb.
With Stark Industries. So I can't remember what she said in Age of Ultron about how long they were trapped there, but they were trapped there a while.
2 days.
So the bomb never went off, and Agatha brought it up that, did you not realize that you just used your powers to stop the bomb from going off? And she's like, no, I didn't. She's like, yes, you did.
It was defective. What are you talking about? Yeah.
And that's the thing that I thought was very fascinating. I said, so we find out right then and there two things. One, that's how Wanda is able to go back and forth from her voice to an American voice because she watched TV and that's how she learned English.
Yes, that's another thing that Pietro brought up because the parents were speaking Sokovian, and Pietro's like, "No, Dad, it's TV night. We only speak American.
Right. I don't speak English." And
Only
so
speak
then,
English.
and the second
Bad
thing
English,
is that
not American, which is
but
American.
she did good. She did all right.
No.
Then,
I'm saying bad English because if you tell a British person that we're speaking English, they're going to look at us like, "No, you're not."
you're speaking
That is
American.
bastard English.
Yeah. But then we also realized that Wanda, with her powers, because she was a witch then and didn't realize she was a witch, held that bomb from blowing up for 2 straight days.
And even Agatha brings that up. She's sitting there like, "Did you not realize what happened? Do you not realize why the bomb didn't go off? It's because your powers did it." And Wanda's still in denial. She's like, no, that's not what happened. It was a dud. And she's like, 2 days, Wanda, it didn't go off. And it was sitting there blinking. And even worse, guys, was the Dick Van Dyke Show was looping on the same scene.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that got engraved in her was just, and you can see that the episode of Dick Van Dyke, if you look at it, is kind of like the first episode or the second episode as far as the scenery goes of their house. It's basically the same bloody layout.
Yeah, and so now we realize that Wanda's actually a witch, but she would have, and she stopped it from blowing up. So then what happens next, Clay?
So they open up another door, and Wanda's like, "Oh God, I don't want to go in there," because that was a door to Hydra. So they open up the door and they go in, and Agatha brings up a very valid point, and she's like, "So you went from being this little girl to being a revolutionary with an anti-fascist or with a group of people that wants to kill everybody and rule the world." And Wanda's just like, "Yeah, well, I was young.
We thought we were revolutionaries."
Yeah, no, there was nothing about Hydra that was revolutionary.
I mean, to them it was. That was all they knew.
Right. They were literally Nazis. And they were the Nazis that nobody liked, which is saying a lot. They're the Nazis that the Nazis didn't like.
Wait a minute. There's one other Nazi that people don't like.
What's that?
Illinois Nazi.
Those goddamn Stokey Nazis. Casually trying to have parades. Like,
No, Christina. He's talking about.
Shout out to Blues Brothers.
He's talking about Blues Brothers. That was before your time.
Oh, I was talking about the Nazis that tried to have a freaking parade in Stokey, Illinois.
Yeah, I remember that. I hate it. And then they just ran them off the road. Proceed.
So we see 2 lab people sitting there, and they're getting ready to bring Wanda in because she's the next test subject to touch the mind. Loki's staff is basically Loki's staff. And one guy, so she she walks in, and she's standing there, and they're explaining everything that's going on. And then one guy, because it's open mic, goes, "Sir, you sure we should do that? All the other people die." And the guy cut off the mic like, "Shut the hell up."
Right.
You don't tell them that. Wanda slowly approaches, but something weird happens. Basically, the Mind Stone comes out of Loki's scepter.
Right.
And basically she's staring at it, and it just kind of like starts exploding around her, and she actually
shatters. It shatters with power.
Right. And she absorbs it, kind of like what happened with Carol Danvers. She
absorbs the power.
With the Tesseract, with the space
telling. She absorbs the power.
And she also sees a figure when it's exploding, which looks like her in her Scarlet Witch outfit. I mean, it's just a silhouette, but she does see it. But what's interesting is, to the men, all they see is her walk in and then her on the ground, and then they immediately run in.
Right. So they didn't see the power exploding and the absorption.
And it's 2 minutes of this. I mean, she was literally in there for like 2 minutes, but to her, 2-3 minutes passed, but to them it was
like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, and they keep rewinding to see what happened. All they see is her go in, her fall. Her go in, her fall. Her go in, her fall. That was literally it. And and it's crazy, you know. Oh, hold on. So, you know, that happens, and they send her back to her room, and she's the first test subject to survive. And then Agatha goes over like, "Oh, that's what happened to you," and she brings up the fact your powers were diminishing because you never use them, you never train.
They would have died off,
right? But the Mind Stone ignited them and enhanced them even more.
So yeah, gave her incredible power.
Gave her incredible powers. So Wanda's sitting there the whole time like, what? Hey, you sure? So, you know, there's that. And the other thing that was going on, she was watching the TV show. She was watching the Brady Bunch in her cell. So these are volunteers. They're basically Hydra folks. They worked for Hydra during this whole time, but they were still treated less than the other Hydra people. I'm pretty sure those scientists were not living in a jail cell like Wanda and Pietro.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were not having the best of conditions. They didn't show Pietro in this. Again, he was only seen as a kid. And also, Nate, at the beginning when they were doing the flashbacks, when they were in the cells, you know, at the end of not Civil War, Winter Soldier. They showed him in the cell. So we were only getting snippets of our favorite. Well, he's my favorite. I mean, I love Evan Peters as Pietro, but I still liked Taylor Johnson as Pietro as well. So Agatha opens the next door, and they go into the next memory, which is Wanda sitting there watching. It was Malcolm in the Middle. She was watching, and she calls out the Vision, because she knows Vision is there. And she explained to Agatha, you know, this is my first time at the Avenger compound. I'm in a strange new country, in a strange place. My brother just died, and I'm all alone. Which, to me, that tells me a lot about the Avengers. So y'all brought her into the fold.
And just let her
and left her. And you didn't think she had any kind of trauma? Okay, Stark, I can see doing that because he's Stark. But Cap?
Nat?
How much has Cap been through? How much has Cap been through?
Bruce. Like, come on.
Bruce too. Yes, Bruce has been through a lot. But Bruce was gone by then. That was at the end of Age of Ultron. So Bruce is already gone.
You're right. Bruce is gone.
So is Cap
Nat? Like
Nat, how much has Nat been through?
So frustrating.
Rhodey. Vision, who's an AI, he doesn't know, you know.
He doesn't know what the hell to do.
He knew, you know, he came in there and he was talking to her,
but he doesn't know what to do.
No, he doesn't know what to do. And he even pointed out, is this supposed to be funny when something happened to Hal on Malcolm in the Middle, like the whole thing fell? And he's like, am I supposed to be laughing at that guy's pain? And she tried to explain to him why it was funny, but she was like, he's not really hurt. It's all phony. And he's like, oh, okay.
I guess
but you start to see them starting to connect. And he said some very nice stuff about love. And I don't know, Nate or Christina, if y'all remember the line he made about love and how it perseveres. The greatest thing about love is how it perseveres.
Well, I mean, the reality of it is that I agree with you. All of these, come here, son. This problem with that is all these people are there, and the only person that show that they care is the AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only person that seems to care. And this is a machine that honestly does not know, you know,
how to deal with the 5 stages of grief.
No, it doesn't. And she's sitting there, you know, dealing with the fact that she just lost her brother. Lost Nate. She just lost her brother, and she lost her brother. She's in a strange country, a country that they always wanted to go to, granted.
Right.
And her brother's not there with her. And honestly, I mean, just all the stuff going down. Nobody's there comforting her. A robot comes in and starts talking to her, and she's like, okay, cool. You know,
I mean, but at least he cared. At least he showed he cared. Mm-hmm. And it was cute too, because I sat there and said, this is a poor, broken woman. Her parents got blown up. They went through Hydra. She got played terribly with Ultron. Her brother's dead, and the only person that's showing his caring is the robot, and that's because he awkwardly thinks she's cute. And I'm like, but at least he's there for her. Good googa mugga.
Right.
But also, Wild Knight just made an amazing point, and he said that none of them really face their own personal traumas, which is absolutely true. Cap even went back in time to freaking fix them.
Yes.
And Iron Man turned into a playboy, and that just shoved it all down like a spy. Like none of them actually faced their
Iron Man. Tony at that point had quit the team. He had quit the team.
I mean that too.
Yeah.
But like he never dealt with his trauma.
Nope.
He turned into a playboy and then turned into Iron Man.
Right. And Hawkeye, who was the only stable person, left because he had a family.
Yep.
So it is true. Wild Knight does have a point. They never faced their own trauma. So how could they help her with her? And tell me the Avengers do not need a doctor on staff. And I'm not talking about Dr. Banner.
They need
how do they not? Even in the military, there is a counselor or something you can talk to when you're having problems. And how does the Avengers not have that? Especially with Tony's money.
Because they're superheroes and they don't think they need help.
So then we take them to modern times, which is basically a week ago on the show. And she's showing up at Sword headquarters. And this is where I say, oh, here comes a smart dummy. And you guys will explain. I'll explain what I mean by that. So they're sitting there and they're talking. She's talking to the front desk. She's like, I know you guys have his body. I want to see his body. I want to give him a proper burial. And she's talking about Vision. And they're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. You can't be here. And then finally, I guess the director calls the front desk and said, oh, no, let her in. And then the guy tells her, how to get to the director's office, which is what we found out. And he tells her where to go. And he's like, oh, I got to buzz you in. And this mug, she's like, oh, no, you don't have to buzz me in. Don't worry about it. She was like, oh, door open.
Also, I love more stuff.
And Karen brings up a very valid point, Nate, is people don't know how damaged they are.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Completely agree with you, Karen. Completely agree.
So she's walking in and she walks and she finds the director's office and she's like, I'm his next of kin, which none of us knew this, that she was listed as his next of kin. And I need to bury him. And I need to see him. And I need to bury him because remember, she's been gone for 5 years. And now she's back. And, Nate, to your point, you was like, how did they get the body back? And I'm like, the Avengers probably brought it back. They weren't going to leave it there. They're like, oh, no, let's bring Vision back. And so he takes her to a room and he shows her Vision's body. And he's all dismantled like it was in the video we saw in episode 5, where she busted in the room and took the body. But we find out later that's not exactly what happened. And they did the whole, we're going to do jinkies on the video and show something different.
So that ain't exactly, she didn't do what they said she did.
No. So she's looking and they're losing I can only imagine is a vibranium saw to cut up his body. And his body's all in 5 different pieces. And Christina, I don't know if you recall Yu-Gi-Oh! Or if you ever watched it. You're on mute right now.
I did.
Osmodeus. Remember, you needed all those cards to put Osmodeus together, and that's how he looked.
Yeah. Pieces of Exodius, yeah. That's really how he looked.
So eventually she busts in because she's like, oh, hell no.
She breaks the glass. She flies down.
And Nate, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Hayward kept saying, well, he's $3 billion. We can't just leave him there. And and we're sitting there like, technically, y'all didn't buy him.
I'm about to say, you didn't buy him.
Like,
Ultron
didn't build him. Like, he's not your property.
Nope. Klaw stole.
He should be back at Stark Industries if we're gonna go there.
Right. Klaw stole him from Wakanda. He stole the vibranium from Wakanda, Ultron bought it from him legally using Stark's money. So actually, he technically belongs to Stark because Stark built Ultron.
Yep.
And then Ultron put them together and gave him life. And then after that, he's really Stark's. But it doesn't look like Stark could be bothered with him, honestly, because after he's dead, Stark doesn't do anything because Stark comes back to the world after Cap and them are back. When Captain Marvel finds him, which I'm still confused about that shit, but we're not even going to go there. So, why didn't they? What happened? And the whole time, Hayward is slowly pushing her because he's like, "Oh, you have the power to bring him back to life." And Wanda's sitting there like, "No, I don't.
I don't.
What are you talking about?" And
literally, Hayward was so
pushing her
that entire time.
Oh, he was manipulating the heck out of her. Like, it was ridiculous how much he was manipulating her. And Nate, you can go into that, how much he was manipulating her.
Man, I'm telling you,
he played her like a fiddle.
Everybody keeps saying that Hayward is XYZ. Hayward played that hand perfectly. He knew he couldn't stop her from coming in. He knew he couldn't stop her from taking the body. So what he did was he played on her strings and her emotions to be able to try to push her to bring him back to life. All he cared about was bringing him back to life
and using him.
Because all he sees him as is a weapon.
Yep, because he said this is the greatest sentient weapon that's $3 billion and it's just laying there dormant.
He literally said that.
So Wanda busts in the room. She busts through the glass, which we all know, gee, that's coming. And we saw that in the video they show. But she feels his head, and then she goes, I don't feel anything. There's nothing there. You're not there. I can't feel you. So she ends up leaving, ladies and gentlemen. She ends up leaving without the body.
Yeah, literally, the second she started walking out the door, I was like, wait, she didn't take the body.
So then we realize how much of a lion sack of Krizap Hayward really is.
Yes, and how much of a manipulator he is.
Because he's manipulating literally everyone that was on that team with him. Mm-hmm. They're trying to stop her at Westview into thinking that she stole Vision's body, and she didn't.
Nope. So she ends up driving to Westview, and then we see as she drives through this town that's basically slowly dying, is what I can say.
Stop. What? She walks to her little red car, and she sits down. And when she sits down, she's driving out of Sword's headquarters parking lot.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized there was an envelope on the passenger's seat. And I said,
but we don't know what's in the envelope yet.
And that's what I'm saying. So because you fast forward without telling that tidbit. So then she decides to drive to this town. Go ahead, Mr. Wayne.
So she gets to the town, and we start seeing the citizens of the town. At no time do we see Agatha or Agnes in this snippet. There was one other person missing, which was Missy. I never saw Missy in any of the people in the town. Dottie. Sorry, Dottie. I called her Missy. Dottie, Missy. It's all the same stupid blonde.
Mr. Miller ate it. Mr. Miller Elliott. Let's go, Missy. Proceed.
So you see the lady that played the boss's wife. She was sitting there rubbing her feet. We see Herb walking around. We see his coworker, one of his coworkers there. He had a long mustache, which did not look like it suited his face at all. He was one of the night people, one of the watch people. He's putting up a sign, I think, for dance, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
And then we see, so this proves that the delivery guy is not Mephisto, like people keep saying. The delivery guy who's working for like Postmates.
There's the delivery guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not crazy.
But hold on. But all this time, she drives to this town, and she's driving through the town. And I'm thinking to myself, why is she there? Why is she there?
The entire time, I was like, why did she come?
And we're getting there. We're getting there. We're slowly.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm building the suspense.
Yeah.
But the town, there's shops that are closed. There's the lively center of town, which we saw in the last couple of episodes, is dead. It's just tired people. And so she drives up to a driveway, gets out a car, and Banks, I'll let you take it from here.
Oh my God. This is not out of Cliff had sent a message saying, make sure you have some tissue. So up to this point, I didn't need no damn tissue. Okay.
Literally up to this point, I was totally fine. I was fine.
I was good. All right. So then she gets out the car and she walks into this vacant lot next to in between two pieces of property.
And it's basically just bricks. It's bricks around.
Well, no, it's the outside of the foundation, but it's a vacant lot, and there's no house there. So it's just an empty lot. And so then she walks to the lot and she stands in the middle of the lot, and she unfolds this piece of paper, and I'm like, so that was what was on the passenger seat. She opens it up, and it's a deed to that property. And it says, this is going to be our future in a heart.
It's like where we grow old.
Right. It's a heart. And it has a V. And I'm like, okay.
And if you pay attention to the deed, it also says Wanda Maximoff and The Vision. So that's his official name, people. The Vision.
Oh my God.
So I saw that hard when it said where we go old and V, and it's that deed to that property, and it says deed, and I went, that's what did it. I paused it and I said,
no, yeah,
that's 100%. What did it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the part that took that poor baby into pure pain. And then, Cliff, I'll let you explain.
So, and wait, I'm going to show this real quick. So everybody can see. Share screen. There you go. So there it is.
Oh.
So you see here, there's Wanda Maximoff in the Vision, and to grow old in with his little signature, and then there's a heart. So he bought that before he died for them to live at.
Right.
So after that, she lost it. After that, she lost it.
She fell to her knees and she screamed in agony.
Yep.
And that's what happened. All the power just exploded out of her. And when it exploded out of her, that red burst went there. It created that home. It took over that whole town. But remember one very important thing that it did. Mm-hmm. Is there a picture that you can show that the Vision was his soul blasted out of her? Do you have that picture?
Basically, is this. So this came out of her. And it ends up being the Vision. And he's just smiling at her and he says, Wanda. That's basically what he says.
No, but go back and where you can see it coming out of her chest.
I don't know if I can get that one. Not without. Hold on, I got it.
I mean, we could just watch it.
So no, we can. We can watch it as long as we're talking over it, guys. It's fair use. It's fair use.
Yeah.
Right.
You're watching it
and
talking
so
over it.
Look at that.
There
yellow.
he is.
She literally resurrected him from her soul.
No. Now, what y'all gotta give thanks to is that woman's back, because every time she uses her powers, she is doing some kind of yoga pose that I don't think I could ever do in my life.
Like she created him from scratch.
Yes.
And was still able to use her fucking powers afterwards.
Wild Knight. Okay, guys. Wild Knight just brought up a very valid point. Where did Viz get the 5% for the down payment? I'm pretty sure Tony Stark gave him a little stipend.
Oh, no. Oh, come on now. Stark is the dude, man. He didn't even get the down payment. Stark just gave him the cheddar and said, go buy it.
For real.
So there's one.
Literally,
Yes, Wild Knight. She did manifest the power of the Mind Stone. He was totally yellow. So remember, the Mind Stone, as we saw in the Hydra portion, created her, basically enhanced her powers. So a part of her is the Mind Stone, and the mind
Right.
it's almost like the proper way that Wonder Woman 84 should have been done with the bloody wish stone when he asked to be the stone. That's basically what Wanda is. But we find out later on she's different.
But here's the thing, and I know I'm about to go a little too far, but remember, she lit all witches' powers are where they use some sort of spell to do something. Mm-hmm. They don't have the ability to be able to create out of nothing. That's what Wanda just did. Mm-hmm. And go ahead, and that'll take us into the next part.
That'll take us to the next part. So Wanda's watching this. She's third person watching this. And you look up and it's a studio. And Agatha is in the crowd. Well, there's no crowd in these seats, just clapping, slow clap, just like that. And this is why I said Agatha deserves an Emmy too, because she is just awesome. Catherine is just awesome in this role. And so she's like, I now know what you are. I know what you are now. And she disappears.
She now knows how to do that.
Right.
She now knows
what happened.
It's not a spell. Mm-hmm. It's not something she stole. It's literally her ability to do it on her own. Go ahead.
Right. So she disappears and Wanda hears her kids. And she runs through the studio door and it's actually her house that she's running out in. And in the street, very nicely, is her two kids with Agatha holding them while she's floating.
Mm-hmm.
And Agatha basically like, I know what you are now. You are a one in a million.
You're the myth.
Nobody
thought that this would have existed.
Mm-hmm. You are
right.
Go ahead, Beck.
You are literally the Scarlet Witch. You are literally the one witch that can create where nothing is. You can just create.
You don't chaos.
Need a spell. Mm-hmm. You don't need a spell. You are chaos itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then freaking credits.
And then credits. And that was when I was
literally, like, I sat up and I was like, that's it? That's it?
Now,
wait, stop.
What?
Remember one very important thing. At the beginning, her coven, talking about Agatha Harkness, wanted to hurt Agatha because she was too powerful. Mm-hmm. Now it's went 180.
But
now
is she hurting them? Is she?
Well,
yes,
that
she's
don't
holding
look.
Kids.
I'm about to say that don't look comfortable.
That was also what I was going to point out is because before she called her the Scarlet Witch, she was like, yes, your children that you created that are not real.
So she so Agatha, there's a lot of theories out there. Is she really the bad person? Or is she just trying to help Wanda come to terms with not only her pain, but trying to educate her on what she really is?
Well,
and start training her, basically. Because there's rumors that phase 4 of MCU is going to be centered on Wanda and what she can do.
Well, I mean, so there's a couple of trains of thought. One, she's going to try to, take her out because she's too powerful. 2, she needed Wanda to come to grips with how powerful she was because she's dazed and confused and needs to
learn how to control about herself, right?
And then she needs to control it. Or 3, is she afraid that there is a big bad out there that's going to come and use her and say, you got to get control of this? We just don't know.
No, we don't know.
Or was she sent there by Doctor Strange to figure out what the problem was?
Right, how all this happened. Because Doctor Strange or the Ancient One could actually have found Agatha after, everything that happened. It was like, you need to get control. You just killed your mama and your whole coven. You need to calm down and go somewhere. And she could have taken off and been training her. I mean, there was that book in the basement that we still don't know where that came from. That was in Agatha's basement that we still don't know, that was glowing. And There's that, and then there's just so much that they need to wrap up. Now, technically, this was the longest episode of the season, but because it was done so well, it did not seem like it.
Oh no, 100%.
It seemed like it was shorter than all the other episodes to me.
What do you mean? This is not the end of the episode. What do you mean? Why are the credits rolling? What is happening here?
So, because we're out of the TV age, out of the first first 4 episodes or first 6 episodes, we get a mid-credit scene. And this is when the excitement really starts. We have Hayward there with his sidekick, his second in command. He's talking about, all these years we've been trying every power source, which me and Nate already knew what he was talking about because he was talking about power source.
The second he started saying, we've tried so many different ways to put this back together, I was like, motherfucker.
So they're showing all we needed was Wanda's power. And so they have the drone, which I guess was crackling with Wanda's power, which I don't know how she transferred the power to it, but maybe it's just a side effect of her using her power.
It wasn't even that. They weren't even talking about Wanda's power. They just said we needed something directly from the source.
Right, Wanda's energy
was also
and all that is
by the Mind Stone.
Well, but it's Wanda's energy, and it went through it came through the hex, so it still got the power, and her power comes from the Mind Stone, so therefore it's got the power. Proceed.
So he powers up something, and then they show where the drone is being drained to, and it is a albino vision, which is basically the white Vision from the comic books, which everybody probably doesn't know is the anti-Vision.
It's the anti-Vision.
Right. He has no feelings. He don't care. He doesn't know about his wife and kids. He is just there to do what they want. And
I was like, oh no, evil Vision.
So he did. So anti-Vision did make a appearance, and there he is. So that's how he looks. And yes, he looks spooky as hell. And of course, he's played by Paul Bettany. So Paul Bettany will be fighting Paul Bettany, I'm sure, next episode. Next episode. Yeah. So this is the drone they drained. I'm still trying to figure out, I guess, like you said, Nate, they came through the hex, and so it had some of the hex's power, kind of like Monica.
Just had the power.
Right. So here is my theory that Wanda carried the soul of Vision, basically, which is what she spit out using her Mind Stone and Chaos powers. That's the Vision's body. I don't know how long they're going to fight, but in the end, one is going to probably absorb the other.
Yep.
And then we're going to get either a complete Vision or White Vision's going to just be an asshole with Vision's memories. And work for Sword.
For Phase 4.
Actually, is it? Because if the rumors are true about Black Widow, that will start off the Thunderbolts. Wouldn't Anti-Vision be properly for the Thunderbolts?
Yep.
And if you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier trailers, U.S. Agent is in there. If people don't know who U.S. Agent is, there was a time when Steve Rogers quit being Captain America. Yes. And they gave his station and role to somebody else. And he was called U.S. At first, he was called U.S. Agent, but then he became Captain America when Steve quit. There's been so many super soldiers for Steve being the first super soldier, and they couldn't repeat that formula. There have been a lot of super soldiers after that. So I think the Thunderbolts are going to be created, and I don't know if Vision's going to be on their side or if not. So we'll see what happens at the end of that. I don't know what's going to happen to the kids. I don't think they can live beyond the hex. But then again, Wanda created them. No. It's been proven that nothing can live beyond the hex. So without proper bodies, they're going to disintegrate. And the other thing is, we never saw Pietro and Monica in this episode. So where did Pietro take Monica to? Yep. And Wild Knight brings up a very valid point. U.S. Agent was the biggest a-hole ever, and he was. Because he was like, I don't know if Nate knew this. There was a time when Damian Wayne, who is Batman's son, took over as Batman in the future, he was shooting people. He was capping them in the head. He did not care.
He didn't care.
So U.S. Agent was that type of soldier where he was just an a-hole, but he was more controllable than Steve Rogers. I mean, I think Bucky and Falcon did not want to work with U.S. Agent because he was that much of a jackass. They were like, nope, we're good. So I think in the end, Monica is going to help, Wanda. Mike, I don't know whose side Agatha's going to be on. Agatha might just sit there and go, oh, yeah, you should probably do something about that. I don't know.
All along.
So, but I do think this is going to end up turning on Hayward, much like what happened in Winter Soldier, where Nick Fury thought that these that the Triskelions were on their side, and it turned out that the Triskelions was going to kill everybody that would oppose Hydra in minutes. And I do believe we have another case of a dick leader thinking that they can control something, like Stark. He created Ultron. Oh yeah, Ultron. We can do that. We can control it. No, you can't.
Foolish.
Same thing with Vision. Anti-Vision. They're not going to be able to control that thing.
Also, where is Fury?
Space. This is taking place during when he's in space with the other part of Sword. Remember, there's a part of Sword that's in space. There is a Skrull acting as Fury right now, but he's in Paris with Peter in his school.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all taking place parallel of Spider-Man Far From Home, I believe. And U.S. Agent's name was Jack Daniels, by the way. Thus proving why he was an asshole. Banks, where do you think we're going with this?
Man, I can't call this one. This was a left-hand turn in the right. They threw it in reverse. I don't know where I'm at right now. I know it was interesting.
What is going on?
I know it was interesting, but I don't know if Agatha's a big bad. I don't know if what she is. All I know is that I don't know if White Vision's going to survive, if they're going to merge, or is because remember, we still have to get the multiverse. So who's going to schism the multiverse?
I do think White Vision is going to survive, but I think when he goes through that hex, we don't know what's going to happen to him. It could change him molecularly, and the other Vision will just come in and beat his ass or join with him.
I mean, but my point is that we've got to get to the schism. So is the schism because she loses her children, and that's another part of her terrible trauma, and then that schism's because she's pure chaos? Does a big bad come and do the schism, and now Doctor Strange comes and says, I need your help to fix this? I don't know where we're going. I don't have a prediction.
And remember, the next Spider-Man, which is I can't remember the name. They just announced the name of it. Takes place after this and after Falcon Winter Soldier, and after Loki, which Loki is going to deal with the TSA. And TSA are the people that's supposed to be dealing with people like, I didn't even think about that. What if she's from the TVA, Nate? The people that have Loki right now. What if Agatha's from them and she came there to assess the situation? Because that's another clandestine agency that has a duty to protect the world from beings that do these crazy things.
Because that is a very valid point. Didn't even think about that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But my thought is, we've got episode 9. The schism has to happen. The multiverse has to happen. How we get there could be Wanda's pain, could be Wanda being played. The big bad could pop up out of nowhere. I don't know. All I know is that I might have to take Friday off, and I don't drink, but I might have to share with your bourbon because next Sunday I might need me a drink. Next Saturday I might need a drink. Because this Friday might mess me up. I might be sitting literally next Friday out here underneath my carport talking about pour another. I don't know. It's gonna be deep.
Christina, what do you think?
I don't want to guess nothing. I refuse. I literally refuse.
Because the show has changed from when it first started. Everybody thought, "Oh, this is weird. We're watching the 50s and 60s." And
I have a doggo, by the way.
yeah, I see that.
My friend came to visit and brought her dog.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that could happen. Like there's so many options, and I love it. I love that. But it's also crazy that they have to wrap up this entire thing
and everything that's going on
in
40 minutes. I think the episode is going to be 50 minutes, and that's including credits. So just get ready to be pissed off again.
Yeah. But knowing Marvel, it's going to end on a fucking cliffhanger, as they love to do. So
let's think about that. The first Avengers ended with just us seeing Thanos. The second one ended with what was the end? What was the mid credits for that one? I can't remember now. Age of Ultron. What was it?
I think that was the Collector.
Oh yeah. When they took the stone. No, that wasn't the Collector. Was it?
That was the Collector.
No, that was Thor 2 that the Collector received the first thing. That was Thor 2, which was meh. I can't remember how Age of Ultron. Now I gotta look it up. But go ahead, Christina.
But there's so many loose ends to tie up, and they purposefully might not tie them all up so they can be tied up in a movie, which I 100% see them doing.
It was Thanos getting the Infinity Gauntlet.
But it's just there's so many things that can happen, and so I refuse to predict anything. I'm just gonna wait, and if I'm curled up in a ball by the time Friday night is over, so be it.
You know what? Something I just thought about, which we all didn't put together. Nate, how many times have you seen Thor Ragnarok? Once?
I've seen it twice.
And you've seen it twice. Remember when Hela was walking through the armory and she tossed the Infinity Gauntlet to the side and she said, "Fake"?
Yeah.
Or you guys don't remember that?
I think so.
I remember.
But the movie before that, which was Age of Ultron, Thanos was grabbing the Infinity Gauntlet. We were all like, well, where the heck did he get it from? And if you recall, Peter Dinklage played that dwarf in Infinity War, and you find out that he created it. So the one that the Asgardians had was a phony, which we all thought was the real thing. And that scene in Age of Ultron was actually Thanos forcing all the dwarves to make his new gauntlet before he killed them all.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we were always wondering, why was this thing rising? Wasn't it sitting inside of something in Asgard? Did Thanos just take out all the Asgardians, including Odin? Nope. He took out their workforce or their armorers. But I digress. This should be an exciting ending for this. And it's going to be a bittersweet ending, I think, as far as just kind of like, well, Mandalorian wasn't a bittersweet ending. I don't think the end of the first season was a bittersweet. He got the kid back and everything was okay. And he got, they escaped and they thought they took out Gideon, but of course Gideon was not taken out. And the last one was him riding off with Luke. I'm trying to think about any other thing. So I don't know how this is going to lead into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think they're going to take the path of a regular spy action show, I guess. And then Loki's going to be a comedy action show, I imagine. I don't know who Loki's going to be fighting with the TVA, but obviously they got him under control somehow. And of course, this is the Loki that was in Endgame that escaped when they were kicking around the Tesseract. When Hulk came through the door, like, I don't like no elevators, always stairs. I hate stairs. Hulk hates stairs.
Freaking Loki, just like, I'm just gonna pick this up now. Bye. Freaking love Loki.
So, Christina, anything you want to plug or any ending thoughts before we sign off here?
This was great. Marvel has really said, oh, I know 2020 was bad, but here you go. Have some presents. Because we literally have Marvel content until the end of Loki, which will probably be like July, August.
And I don't know when Black Widow comes out.
Black Widow is May 7th.
Oh, is it May 7th? So that is in between.
So it's
Loki
and then Shang-Chi's coming out this year. Eternals is coming out this year. Like, Marvel has really said, I know 2020 was bad, but here have a lot of presents.
I don't know about the Eternals. The Eternals doesn't really. I never got into the Eternals.
I'm just saying,
it's a big risk.
Like, it's a very big year for Marvel content, and I think that's awesome. And especially because it's not all movies. I think that's great. In regards to a plug, if anybody needs a website, hit your girl up. Catch her on Fiverr. Got some packages there. Yeah, and that's Fiverr spelled Fiverr.
So I did not realize who was in the Eternals. Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
And Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
This should be interesting. And Kit Harington. Interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jon Snow is in the Eternals.
Yes.
I will never be able to imagine him as anything other than Jon Snow. I don't know what they're doing to me. Why are they doing this to me?
Richard Madden is in there as well, which he was in 1917, that was a good movie. That was a good movie, actually. And I don't like war pieces usually, but that one was good.
Kit Harington and something other than Game of Thrones?
No, he hasn't. No, not really.
I mean, it only ended like a couple years ago, so.
Right. Big Nate, thoughts and plugs.
I'm actually sad that WandaVision ends next Friday.
But we only have 2 more weeks before Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I really, really have enjoyed. I mean, I started off slow and I didn't like it at first, but man, it has taken me on a great ride and I've enjoyed it. So all I could do is just wait till next Friday. In terms of plugs, my God, I don't know where to begin, man. I'm all over the dang.
Well, just take it from the top.
All right. Well, yesterday,
March 19th is when Falcon and Winter Soldier is scheduled, so we get a 2-week reprieve.
Yep.
Well, yesterday I had my first meeting with the New Mexico Supreme Court's Commission on Equity and Justice, trying to deal with racial inequities in the criminal justice system, well, in the system itself. And of course, you know, your boy had to be your boy, and I had to speak up. You know, I don't just do quiet. I just don't know how to do that. So I guess I said some such compelling stuff that our capital in New Mexico, Santa Fe, and the newspaper's called the Santa Fe New Mexican, and they wanted to interview your boy, so I was on the front page today. And it's so funny, they interviewed me and Supreme Court Justice Bacon, and they led the story with me and not the Supreme Court Justice. So, I mean, that's pretty dope. I mean, I'm mind blown on the power of what we're going to be able to do and the things we're going to try to do. This is going to be an incredible Justice Bacon's, you know, it was her brainchild. And I'm so glad that they let me be a part. They brought me in, and we got a lot of work to do. So I'm going to be rolling up my sleeves and getting down and dirty into trying to make the state that I live in a better place when you come to the system itself. Then tomorrow I'm on the radio, the old school drive from 1 to 5 with me. Big Nate is going to be, I'm going to be spinning the oldies from 60s, 70s, and 80s. And we're going to be dancing and grooving, and I'll be getting text messages from people. So we good. And then I got something that I'm going to give a little teaser about. But I've got a meeting with some big people about a project that could be coming up in the future that's going to be mind blowing. Because then this takes me from potentially a a statewide attorney to somebody who's going to get some national recognition on something. So we'll see. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I got a meeting with a large cable station Tuesday. So I'm God is good. That's all I can say.
Yes.
I just keep looking up and things just keep coming my way and I'm like, okay, thank you, Lord. And so we'll see. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. I'm not gonna give any information yet. But next Friday I might have more to say. But right now I got two
Mom's
good
the
things.
word.
Mom. So we'll see what happens. And I'm gonna hand it off to Cliff.
Right. I don't have much to plug. I did stream on Twitch last Saturday for the first time in, I don't know, about 6 months. And I was streaming Borderlands 3, which is awesome. Currently I'm playing Valheim, which is a interesting.
Valheim?
Yeah, Valheim. It is an interesting, basically it's kind of like Ark and some of those survival games. It's just, but you're a Viking. You're a Viking.
What are you playing on?
Right now I play it on Steam, PC.
Yeah. I was gonna say we could play together.
Valheim?
No, Borderlands.
Oh, Borderlands 3. Oh no, I played it on PC. Sorry, I can't do the controller with that. That game is just it's too much. Maybe if it goes on sale, I'll try. But Borderlands 1, I did that on the PC. Borderlands 2, I finished that on the PC.
I've done Borderlands 2 is probably one of my favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
I've done like 4 full playthroughs of that game.
Mm-hmm. So I've done probably 3. With the Siren and then my gun boy and then
Maya.
Zero and then Zero and
Maya.
Gage. It's okay. It's okay.
It's not okay. Stupid kid.
So I will be trying to do a little bit more streaming, but it gets kind of hard, especially now that it's starting to warm up and there's a lot more going on in the world. So it's time to start getting back out there and just enjoying life as much as you can. But I want to thank everyone that did join us tonight and those that are going to view it later on. And we are, for Big Nate and Christina and myself, we will check y'all next week as we probably lose our minds.
For real.
So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot. I guess we'll see where Pietro and Monica have been for the last episode or last couple of hours, So everyone have a good night. By the way, Nate, I don't know, and Christine, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Pietro was created from a plant, by the way. There was a plant outside Wanda and them's house, and that's what she was doing at the end of the episode when they were singing her theme song. She had transformed a plant into Pietro. Because remember what she said, your brother's body is a couple continents over or a continent over, and it's already got holes in it, so I really don't want to pull it over here. Yep. So everyone have a good night. Thank you for joining us, and we will see y'all in a week.
Bye.
Peace.